Good morning, children. Welcome to our chemistry class. Now we are discussing separation of components from mixture. There are many separation techniques are in chemistry for separating the components of mixtures. So let us see one by one. First one, centrifugation. Sometimes the solid particles in a liquid are very small and pass through the filter paper. For such particles, the filtration technique cannot be used for separation. So, such mixtures are separated by the technique centrifugation. Here you can see a picturization of centrifugation. The principle is that the denser particles are forced to the bottom and the lighter particles stay at the top when spun rapidly. So now we can separate the tiny particles like denser particles from the lighter particles. Okay. Applications of centrifugation used in diagnostic laboratories for blood and urine test, used in dairies and home to separate butter from cream, used in washing machines to squeeze out water from wet clothes. Children, let us see how we separate immiscible liquids. The separation of two immiscible liquids. We can separate two immiscible liquids by separating funnel. You can see sample picture of separating funnel here. So this is the separating funnel, and by this method we can separate two immiscible liquids. The principle is that immiscible liquids separate out in layers depending on their densities. Applications to separate mixture of oil and water. In the extraction of iron from its ore, the lighter slag is removed from the top by this method to leave the molten iron at the bottom in the furnace. Next, we are going to discuss separation of component of dye. Here, we can use a special technique for the separation of component of a dye. The name of the technique is chromatography. The ink that we use has water as the solvent and the dye is soluble in it. As the water rises on the filter paper, it takes along with it the dye particles. Usually, a dye is a mixture of two or more colors. The colored component that is more soluble in water rises faster, and in this way, the colors get separated. That is, chromatography is the technique used for separation of those solutes that dissolve in the same solvent. Applications to separate colors in a dye, pigments from natural colors, drugs from blood. Now we are telling about how can we separate a mixture of two miscible liquids. By distillation method, we can separate two miscible liquids. That method is known as distillation. It is used for the separation of components of a mixture containing two miscible liquids that boil without decomposition and have sufficient difference in their boiling points. Children, what we have learned today? Today we learned the separation techniques: centrifugation, separating funnel, chromatography and distillation. Okay. Okay, children, it's time to wind up our class today. Thank you so much for watching this video. Take care. Bye-bye.